Hello, everybody. John Fulford here. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. This episode has been a long time coming. I finally got the nerve, the gumption, the gall, not the gall. Wasn't there like France historically was called the Gaul or something? Anyway, the gall to do this episode. Okay, the state of production music of 2020. That's what this episode is about, and I'm gonna get into what I see production music, where I see production music going in 2021 and beyond. What I'm doing in production music, and my life in general. Okay, production music as we know it, and production music as we know it, and as we've come to know it in the previous years is over. Okay, it is evolving. It was an evolution which turned into a revolution when COVID hit. The days of 2012, 2013, 2014, where people could just sit in their pajamas and sit in their underwear, as a lot of people would say, and make good money, those days are over. It was a bubble. Okay, it was Beanie Babies. Fun while it lasted, but fun for only as long as it lasted, because it didn't last forever. Right? It was tulips in Amsterdam. I was in Amsterdam a couple years ago, and I could have bought tulips for a normal price, not for some inflated, super jacked up price like they used to be for sale for back a few hundred years ago at the height of tulip mania. Okay, same thing happened with production music. All right, the days of writing a bunch of random cues using Apple loops, Stylus RMX loops, and the like, and submitting them to libraries or productions and making a living off of it, that is over. It was a bubble. It happened. I'm thankful it happened. A lot of us made money at it, but those days are over. COVID exacerbated this situation, okay? Production music was evolving, evolution, COVID happened, now it's a revolution. When most of my placements now are coming on shows, or I should say briefs. They haven't been placed yet. I haven't gotten a lot of placements like this yet, but all the briefs, or most of the briefs coming in, are for shows that are not going to be broadcast. They are on streaming, native streaming shows. What does that mean? That means the shows are made specifically for streaming outlets. It used to be you had a sync license on Breaking Bad, which was on broadcast or cable AMC, and then it went to Netflix. Nowadays, a lot of briefs are coming through for shows native to Hulu, native to Netflix, native to HBO Max, native to Peacock, native to CBS All Access. If you add up the monthly fees of all these streaming networks, I think it would be like more than your car plus rent payment. How many streaming networks does it take to screw in a light bulb? The world will never know. There's so many of them. All right. And when you have a network like Quibi, okay, I should have done a whole episode about this, where you have Jeffrey Katzenberg, you know, the K in DreamWorks, SKG, the K, Jeffrey Katzenberg, starting a streaming content creation company with Meg Whitman, the lady from eBay, little company called eBay, which she helmed. When that is a complete and utter a disaster, you know the business is evolving and changing at a very rapid pace when all those billions of dollars couldn't make anybody watch their content. Okay, that is wild. So now it used to be kind of like when I first moved to LA, it was kind of like the Wild Wild West. And then everything kind of like calmed down and got into a groove, you know, like kind of stable, stasis, satiated. And now it's like the Wild Wild West again. All right. But back in the day, you could do a bunch of cues at home, sitting in your pajamas, send them to some libraries that may or may not have paid you up front. And then you would have gotten some nice performance royalty checks. But now, starting with retitling and now going to subscription services such as Epidemic Sound or Artlist or ArtGrid, ArtGrid and Artlist. It's the same company, but one's for footage, one's for music. It's bearing down on the income you can make with random production music, random production cues. And it's funny, like life is, how a lot of these music writers, yes, I'm talking to you, that were all cool and fine and dandy with retitling, right? We're all cool and fine and dandy with retitling. Now we're upset that there's a subscription service. You see what I'm saying? But retitling kind of started the downward pricing pressure, which is okay, because a lot of y'all complaining about your subscription services. I'm not talking about Spotify and stuff. I'm talking about like Epidemic Sound. A lot of y'all complaining about Epidemic Sound. Take Uber and Lyft because cabs are too expensive. So if it doesn't affect you, and this is human nature, I'm not hating on you, and I understand it. I'm not hating on you specifically or disrespecting you in any way, form, or fashion, but you have to understand what's going on. You take Uber and Lyft because cabs are too expensive, but then you get upset because your music isn't being sold for as much as it used to be sold for. Okay? That's a macro issue that's probably been going on since the beginning of time. Right? But, I mean, that's all well and good to jibber jabber about it on a podcast, but yeah, it is what it is. You're not getting as much money for your cues. And that's because there was a bubble, like real estate, like stocks, like tulips, like Beanie Babies, like baseball cards, like Bitcoin, although Bitcoin is back up, but you know what I mean? Now, there's still people making money in real estate and with Bitcoin, this and that, but it's just not as easy as it used to be, right? Not as easy as it used to be. Right? Because back in the day when real estate was hot, like, 2007, 2006 to 5, 6, and 7, there was people bagging groceries saying, oh yeah, I just got my real estate license. Okay, cool. Then you go outside and the person taking your groceries to the car, I just got my real estate license. Everyone was getting the real estate license because it was the hot thing. Now when people get their real estate license, it's because they actually want to do it, not because it's the hot thing. Like, right, when I was doing mortgage brokering back in 2003, 4, and 5, the running phrase in the business was, why did John Dillinger rob banks? Why? Because that's where the money is. Whenever you hear someone say that, run the other way, because they're not passionate about what they're doing. They're passionate about making money, and they'll do whatever is hot at the time. That's why a lot of music people are now selling and buying real estate, are doing marijuana stuff, are doing cryptocurrency, are doing SEO. How come a lot of composers that are kind of like, they don't really make a lot of money doing music, they're getting into SEO? You want to get into SEO your own website, so you start getting some more work, right? SEO is search engine optimization. So it's scattered, right? Like, people were scattered. They're doing a range of things, a range of different stuff, production music being one of them. Oversupply, supply goes up, quantity demanded goes down, especially when everyone's using the same Apple loops, RMX loops, Splice loops. When me as a library, I get music from different people, and the music has the same exact melody lines and sounds because they just both downloaded the same loop pack the week before. Here's an interesting story, which I believe. I was talking to a VP of music at a big money TV show, and they said they got a call from a producer, and the producer said, hey, you used my song. I didn't sign a license. And they go, well, what's the song? Send it to me. So then they looked at the cue sheet. They matched it up. They called the name of the producer on the cue sheet that had a license and said, hey, this other gentleman is saying that you took his song and put it on TV. And the producer said, no, I didn't. And it was a stalemate. No one was admitting that they were wrong. So the VP said, okay, send me the session files from the actual session where you did the music, and I want to see what's going on. So it just so happened that both producers used the same loops in the same exact configuration for a snippet of their each of them had a piece of music, and for a snippet of their piece of music, the music was exactly the same, or same enough to where you couldn't tell it apart on TV. So the VP music said, well, no, I mean, the first guy, the guy with the license, just used the same royalty-free loops in the same combination as the other guy did. So there was no infringement. But that just goes to show where people couldn't tell their own music from another person's music because they used the same loops. And that happened. And that was years ago. That was before Splice. And I'm not picking on Splice. I'm just saying that's the main loop marketplace now. Oh, I should say I'm making my own chord pack. I know I talked about it a year ago, but I'm finishing it up and I have an idea. It's going to be free for people that order stuff on Amazon through my Amazon affiliate link. So when you use my Amazon affiliate link to order something, you help the show, you help the YouTube channel, you help me buy equipment for this stuff, which is good. Thank you very much. And you get a free chord pack because you're going to buy stuff on Amazon anyway. You're going to buy map of the world art prints for your spare bedroom. You're going to buy a coaster set. You're going to buy plastic chairs. You're going to buy oatmeal. But if you do it through my link, you don't pay any more for it, but Amazon pays me out of their profit. So how you're going to do it is you order something through my affiliate link, and then you email me at musiclicensingpodcast@gmail.com, musiclicensingpodcast@gmail.com, and you say, hey, I ordered something through your affiliate link, honor system. You don't need to send me the receipt. It's just an honor system. And then I send you a chord pack of MIDI and audio files of chord progressions that I made that we're not putting up for sale on these websites. So it's going to have a little bit of exclusivity. Not every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to have these access to these chord packs. And also I'm giving you the MIDI files so you could change the instrumentation, change the key, change the notes. I'm giving you the stem cells, if you will, to the chords. So you could change them in any way, shape, form, or fashion you want. And I used a chord progression I was going to put on this chord pack, but I used it on a song and it got used in Taiwan. So I was about to put it on the chord pack, but I thought, this would work well for a demo we're doing for Taiwan. And it got used by an artist out in Taiwan. So that's the quality of these chord progressions. They're a little bit left to center. They're interesting. They're evolving. They're not just regular chord progressions. I want to give you all some value. Okay? So anyway, and I'll do a proper announcement of all that stuff in the coming weeks ahead. But the production music business as we know it is no longer. That's not bad. It always evolves. It always evolves. Remember when you had to hire a whole orchestra to do a cue? Now you buy $800 worth of equipment and you have 10 orchestras at your disposal, okay? So we benefited from the technological revolution as well, okay? It's not just people using the music for cheaper. It's the musicians get access to cheaper and better products, software, things like that. So anyway, So I moved to Florida a year ago. I didn't really mean to move here. This was a stopover point on my way out to Asia where I was going to launch my Dragon Gate Music Asian catalog. I'm still kind of doing that, but it's not my main focus anymore, especially since COVID really brought downward pressure on the production music industry, but things are coming back up a little bit. I've been getting briefs. I've been getting inquiries on some stuff, which is great. But I'm what's the word? I was gonna say fixing it up. I'm mixing it up a little bit. I'm flipping the script a little bit here. Okay, I have been in Gainesville for a year. I've seen a bunch of musicians that were in quote unquote real bands, not producer bands. Again, no disrespect. Don't hold this against me, but real bands. See, let me break it down. I was talking to a guy from a Fat Wreck band today, and I was breaking this down for him. So, what's a producer band? A producer band is when 1, 2, 3, however many people get together and they write music. And instead of calling it like a library album, they make up a band name. They get a website and they call it a band. Very prevalent in Nashville, but prevalent in around the world as well, but most prevalent in my experience in Nashville. Okay? And they just make up a band name, maybe put up a little website, put it on Spotify, and market the music to sync licensees as a real band. But they don't play shows, they don't tour. It's not a full-time band. They call them projects. It's a project, yes, producer band, in the hopes of landing higher value, more lucrative, more prestigious syncs. right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I might be responsible for some of those myself. Oh, R&B things and rock things. Okay, I get it. But I got here to Gainesville, and one day I walk into the gym, which I love, by the way. Although I was there today for an hour and 41 minutes of lousy performance at the gym. It was pretty rough. So I walk in to the gym, and who's there at the gym but the guitarist for Against Me? And I was excited. I'm like, hell yeah. You know why I'm excited? Because this is somebody I could talk to about Gainesville bands and bands that used to come play in Gainesville 15, 20 years ago, such as Against Me, yes, but also bands like Small Brown Bike, Hot Water Music, Leatherface, Grab Ass Charleston's, Panther UK United 13, Cadillac Blindside, The Stereo, even though they were from Arizona, and many more. Radon, I Hate Myself, Piebald, even though they're from Boston, but they used to play, they used to play a lot of the same bands. Bands like that. And the only other person I could talk to about that was a woman at Whole Foods, downtown LA, at the coffee kiosk that I saw was wearing a Palatka shirt, or somehow we got talking about the band Palatka. Have you ever heard of the band Palatka? I don't think so. But this lady had. And me and Maserati Steve walked into Whole Foods, and she was wearing a shirt the band War on Women, which is a female-fronted band. I don't know. And then this lady Jen from this band No More and this band Sugar Dish is now the guitarist for War on Women. See these bands? You haven't heard of these bands, but I love these bands. So anyway, me and Maserati Steve are in Whole Foods, and I was like, hey, yeah, I heard of that band. I forgot. Somehow we got talking about Palatka, the band, not the city. And I said, yeah, Palatka, and we're talking. And then it's the kiosk, they sold you the tea bags and stuff, but you had to assemble your drink on your own. So she's talking, we're talking for like 5 minutes, and she's making me my green tea. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're talking about all these bands, Hot Water Music, this and that. And then Maserati Steve goes, what's next? You're going to start talking about Small Brown Bike? And she goes, hell yeah, I love Small Brown Bike. I'm like, me too. Hot Water Music, Small Brown Bike, Leatherface at the Market Street Pub in Gainesville, Florida changed my life forever. Look those bands up. Actually, the guy from Small Brown Bike has colon cancer now, so I'll put up a GoFundMe or something because that really sucks. So he kind of said Small Brown Bike, kind of mockingly, or laughing about it. And then the lady made me my drink, and then she gave Maserati Steve all the accoutrements, and he had to go put his own drink together. He had to go to the hot water station and add the water and stuff, but she made mine custom. These bands. So anyway, that was the only person I knew in LA. I didn't even really know her. I just saw her at Whole Foods once. So long story long, I walk into the gym, and there's James from Against Me. I'm like, yes, thank you. And every time I walked in and he was there, I'm like freaking stoked because I could talk about these bands. Planes Mistaken for Stars. I think that guy has cancer too. Jeez Louise. Planes Mistaken for Stars. Gun Mall. Okay? As Friends Rust. You know what I'm saying? Remember when As Friends Rust played in New York? And then the next night, Hot Water Music and Iron Chic played in New York. And then the next day, I had a meeting at a big network, and I went in there. I could barely hear anything. I had my As Friends Rush shirt on. That was wild. So those are the bands that I traveled to go see. Wait. As Friends Rush, Hot Water Music, and Iron Chic are performing in 2 nights, 2 different shows in New York. Taking a business trip. Okay? These are the bands that, you go to a show in Gainesville, and the guy from the band is stamping hands at the door when the other band is performing. Let's say one band is not playing that week. They're stamping hands at the door. They're cleaning. They're bartending. They're sweeping up. And then next week when you go, that band's playing and the other band is stamping hands at the door. These bands, not a lot of people know about these bands, but they're very, very, very important to me. So anyway, stoked. And I'm vibing on music. I'm here. I'm talking with Vinny from Less Than Jake, the drummer for Less Than Jake. We're just talking about music. meeting up, in between COVID waves and stuff like that, and just kind of being immersed in the culture and the music scene that I wasn't really involved with in Los Angeles. Of course, when these bands will come play LA, I would go see it and I would love it, but it wasn't like that, But now I'm here, I'm ensconced, if that's the right word, in this music scene. And, I talked about syncs with all these bands, sync licensing. Of course, they all want syncs, like everybody wants syncs. And I was trying to figure out a way to not put out so many production music albums in the future. I'm still putting some out. I'm still putting out more than you're probably putting out, okay? Just let me just tell you that right now if you're listening to this. But 1 month, I think 2018, I put out 20 albums in a month. That's the volume that a major music library, like a Universal-owned library, would put out. And it was me putting out 20 albums in a month. And I paid for every one of them, too. It wasn't like this thing where, like, send me free music and I put it together. No, I paid for every cue. So about 200, maybe 220 cues, and I paid for all of them that month. So that was the volume. And I had like maybe 10, 12 writers, including me. But now what it's going to be like 3 writers or 2 writers, not including me. So maybe 3 or 4 writers total, including me. And that's it. It's not going to be 10, 12 anymore. We're going to shut down the volume. We don't need Future Bass Volume 8, Trap Beats Volume 12, Tension Drones Volume 62, unless a TV show asks me for a Future Bass Volume 9, and then we'll do the best Future Bass album in the marketplace. That goes without saying, and I love to do it. But the industry doesn't need another album of alt rock unless there's some story with it. I know I'm kind of scattered here doing this episode. I'm all over the place, but that's the way I think. But then it all comes back to a central thesis, a central thesis of what I got going on music-wise. So anyway, I'm talking to these bands, talking about syncs, and it's a music scene I really wasn't involved in personally, especially after I left Fueled by Ramen, making $25 a week, working 16 hours a day sometimes in Gainesville here when I was in school. So I wanted to figure out a way to do something cool with these bands and make a mark and build a legacy. And I don't want to use the word help these bands because they're helping me. Like, if anything, they're helping me. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not helping them. They're helping me. So I'm starting a record label, a traditional record label in the sense that we're putting out records. It's called Cash Grab Records because we're doing music which is going to earn an income for these bands and these artists. That's my goal. I'm letting the artists be artistic, and I'm going to be the jerk that gets them money. We're going to offer real-time accounting with Google Docs, okay? So, like, a lot of bands say, like, the label doesn't pay them and stuff like that. Well, we're gonna have a Google document between myself and the band. Expenses get listed, income gets listed in real time. In real time. Now, I don't think I could pay them real time. We still have the standard payment dates 4 times a year, things like that, okay? We're not going to pay them $8 here, 10 cents there. It's going to aggregate and pay naturally, right? 4 times a year, just like most people do, Except sub-publishers, they pay twice, but that's neither here nor there. So, or neighboring rights, which is the new in vogue royalty. I'll talk about that too. Maybe not now, but in the future. So we're going to have a Google Doc. How many times did I say Google Doc? Now, the band, if they want to, they could share that Google Doc with their fans. If they want to be transparent about their accounting, they could. I don't care. They could share it. Here's how much we spent on this. Here's how much money is coming in. A, B, C, D, E, everything. This label will focus on cover recordings. But there's a difference. These covers will be recorded by actual touring bands, not producer bands. Actually, there's one guy that I found in West Palm Beach that's really good, and he's not technically touring band, but he's really good. But other than that, he does like psych rock. It's awesome. Other than that, it's going to be, look, I'm breaking my own rule already. Other than that, it's going to be touring bands that tour and have t-shirts and, know what it's like to drive through Wyoming at 2 a.m, 8-hour drive to go to a show where no one's there but the bartender and the door guy, and the door guy runs off with their money. Okay, bands that know what truck stop has the cheapest coffee and stuff. Bands, okay, you get it. Real bands. And again, I'm not dissing producer bands. A lot of that music is great. Most of it's great. I know people that get a sync a day with their producer bands. Yeah, a sync a day. Not a publisher, a producer that gets a sync a day. Wild, right? So it would be very foolish of me to throw shade on that. But I'm not doing that. We're doing bands. I've spoken to some bands already. The first band that's coming out is going to be December 10th. The band Rookie of the Year, which I heard of in 2006. They were on 111 Records, which was owned by one of the gentlemen in that boy group LFO. I think it was Light Funky Ones, maybe. Isn't it right? I Like Girls That Wear Abercrombie and Fitch, right? That group, one of the guys on a record label through Warner Brothers that put out a lot of great music this day and age. Rookie of the Year, Inkwell. Huh? Let's go deep. We're going deep today. So, long story long, Rookie of the Year, we did a 3-song Christmas EP, which is coming out December 10th. Link in the description. I'm going to put it up on all my social media. I would really appreciate it if you saved it to your Spotify, pre-saved it, all that stuff. This is a new territory for me. I'm still trying to figure out all the nuts and bolts of it, but I'm confident in it. I think there's one public domain Christmas song, and then there's 2 other ones that are published by Sony ATV. Naturally, I sent them to Sony ATV. They didn't listen to them or really care, but that's okay because I care, and we're gonna make it happen, right? So I'm doing this for these bands, and the bands are helping me because I get to work with like bands again and like sync their stuff, and there's members of the bands and they tour and they do cool things, and that was missing in production music. And you know what? I am still doing production albums with some of these guys as well. I have one coming out which is gonna knock your socks off, and it's not a cover album. It's a straight up production album where these cats are writing the music. Especially if you're from LA and like you're gonna be stoked on this. But that's a production album. So that's where everything is right now, and I think that it's what the industry needs. It's a new look on things, but still fits within the basic framework. A lot of licensing companies, and I was talking about this with a big tour manager we're kind of wrangling more bands together. He's helping me kind of wrangle these bands, and he's saying, well, are you a licensing company? I said no, because licensing companies do these releases with bands, but it's not real. I'm a record label for this. Cash grab records. Because I'm grabbing the cash in exchange for value, or I'm not trying to say we're taking it that we don't deserve it, or the licensees are going to feel bad about giving it to us. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's cash grab. We go to a licensee. We say, here's this great song from this band that has a fan base, that it's a famous song recorded by this band, and you could use it for a fair price. And we take that and we pay the bands. And then the band gets notoriety and money, and it's going to help their original music, because if they get known for these covers, there's a good chance that their original music could start getting some action and traction as well. Because there's some of these bands I spoke with that haven't landed. Some of these bands are 25 or 30 years old, and they haven't landed any syncs, but they want syncs, and their music is good. It's crisp. It's syncable. It's awesome. So I'm talking to a lot of bands right now. Rookie of the Year is coming out December 10th. I have two more deals signed. I'll get to those after they get kind of far along in terms of the music being done. And I'm not depending. And if you work at a publisher and I give you crap, I don't like. I understand. You guys have covers coming through. You have to sync the new Lady Gaga song, not the new Rookie of the Year cover. I understand that. So we're not depending on the publishers to do anything except bill us for the mechanicals, which which is all handled, which I'm handling, and that's all well and good. So we're not depending on the publishers to pitch or do anything like that. That's many times the publishers will send spreadsheets of songs to musicians to make cover songs, to make the publisher get the sync fee, and by default, the master owner, most of the times the band, will get a little piece of the action. We're doing it backwards. We're doing it the opposite. We're coming at it from the band point of view. We're getting money, and as a byproduct, the publisher they'll get a big fat fee, but it's a byproduct. We're concerned with the band and the master side. Up until now, it's only been the publisher. It's been BMG commissioning Blondie covers. It's been BMG commissioning David Bowie covers. It's been Universal commissioning R. Kelly covers, saying that it'll clear and they don't clear. Right? It's been the publishers trying to do it. It hasn't been from the other way, from a record label getting bands to do covers. So that's what I'm doing. The foreign language tip, I'm still rocking and rolling on that. We're seeing some great action on that from around the world. And that was an idea that I had. Why would I want to make a bunch of Katy Perry alts when everyone's doing that? Or at the time, everybody was doing that. Let's do some foreign language. Now, my next thing is cover albums from bands which you have heard of. And it's very interesting to see. I go on, like I'll be on social media, and there'll be a big money licensee, a film director, music supervisor, ad executive that says, oh, I love this band. Great. I just signed that band to do a cover album. So I'm going to send it. You see what I'm saying? There's a different feeling than with production music. Production music is commodified. But this cover label is not commodified, and it's very interesting for me to do. I'm not saying it's going to save the world. I'm not saying anything like that. But for me, it's going to save the world for me, if that makes sense. And it's going to give the bands, let's be honest here. Many bands could put up a new t-shirt design and they would make more money than the average sync license. When you're dealing with bands of that caliber, right? Like X major label bands, they can make a special gift pack for the holidays or something and sell, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 copies of that, pieces, units or whatever, right? So this is just going to augment what they're doing, if that makes sense. It's just going to augment it. But it's very cool for me to do, and I'm excited about it. At the same time, yes, we're still doing production music. I have slated many albums that are coming out in 2021. It's December 2nd when I'm recording this, so I'm not putting out any more albums for the rest of the year, but after January, we're still going to rock those albums. But I'm telling y'all, and even if y'all are my competition, I'm telling y'all, the days of just putting out random albums are over. That was the bubble. Tension Drones Volume 62. That we don't rock like that no more. You have to be deliberate in what you're doing. Right? Be deliberate in what you're doing and you'll be fine. All right, and start paying composers. Get the bar has gone up, high quality. Too many people hit me up and they're doing albums and albums worth of stuff for exclusive libraries, keeping the copyright with no money. Right? So make sure if you're a composer, get the library to put some skin in the game. Get them to write a check. Ask them for money. If they don't want to give you money, all right, then go to the other library. Get money from them. If no one's paying you, then take 6 months, really work hard on making your music a lot better, and then go back again. There's been times when people hit me up and their music was pretty good, and then a year later they hit me back and their music is phenomenal, and I can't pay them fast enough. You see what I'm saying? So just hone in, especially now because of COVID. If you can't go out to the night spot, oh boy, we're in trouble, huh? All those spots are closed and businesses are shutting down. I can't imagine. I can't imagine how it is in LA. I've been seeing reports and things like that. But anyway, let's end it on a good note. I don't want to end it on that note. So let's end it on a good note. YouTube, follow me on YouTube. I've been doing more and more videos lately. Music licensing podcast at gmail.com. Email me. I'll have the chord pack ready. I should have it for the holidays. So hopefully, I don't want to rush it, but I'll make sure and work on it. I don't want to rush it just to get it in time for the holidays to catch your Amazon holiday shopping. But I'll keep you apprised on that. Email me as always, again, music licensing podcast at gmail.com, and I'll catch you next time.